Hello and welcome to the Sleepy Phantom, a quiet space where the universe whispers its deepest secrets, just as you close your eyes. As you get comfortable and let the rush of the day dissolve into the night, tonight we will be exploring the profound and silent depths of the cosmos, carefully deconstructing the science of sleep. Before we begin our descent, it would be lovely to know where you are watching from. The Phantom travels to so many different corners of the world, and it is always comforting to imagine the peaceful rooms these quiet journeys reach. If you enjoy these gentle explorations into the edges of reality and want to support the channel, a like and a subscribe help more than you might expect. And to those who have already invited the Phantom into their evenings, thank you so much for returning. Please consider tapping the notification bell as well, so you do not miss our next voyage. And if the mysteries of the void turn out to be just a little too captivating, keeping you awake for a moment longer than planned, at least you will drift off having learned something beautiful about the dark. No rush, no noise, just knowledge, gently dissolving into dreams. Take a moment to simply be exactly where you are. You have arrived at the end of the day, a quiet boundary between the waking world and the profound, restorative sanctuary of the night. There is nothing left that you need to do right now. There are no problems to solve, no tasks to complete, and no questions that demand immediate answers. The busy, brilliant machinery of your waking mind has done its work for the day, and it is now time to grant it the profound rest it so deeply deserves. As you lie here, allow the physical weight of your body to settle into the surface beneath you. Notice the gentle, involuntary rhythm of your breathing, the steady rise and fall of your chest, functioning as a perfect, internal metronome that is slowly winding down. With every exhalation, you are releasing a fraction of the day's tension, letting the invisible strings of daytime alertness go slack. Tonight, we are going to embark on a journey inward, a journey into one of the most mysterious, beautiful, and essential phenomena of human existence. We are going to explore the science of sleep. We will travel through the hidden architecture of the night, exploring the delicate biological ballets and the astonishing neurological symphonies that occur the moment you close your eyes and surrender to the dark. For a third of our lives, we retreat into this altered state of consciousness, stepping away from the tangible reality of our lives to wander through the ephemeral landscapes of dreams in the deep, silent canyons of cellular repair. It is a universal rhythm, shared by every living creature on this planet. Yet, for all its universality, the act of falling asleep remains an incredibly intimate and profoundly delicate transition. For centuries, sleep was largely misunderstood. It was viewed simply as a passive state, an empty void of time where the body and brain simply switched off, lying dormant until the sun rose again. Early philosophers and scientists thought of sleep as a kind of temporary death, a cessation of activity. But modern science has revealed a truth that is far more magnificent and deeply comforting. Sleep is not an absence of activity. It is a highly active, meticulously orchestrated biological process. When you drift away, your brain does not power down. Instead, it shifts its operations, initiating a complex sequence of internal housekeeping, emotional processing, and physical restoration that is absolutely vital for your survival and your well-being. The quietness of your sleeping body masks an extraordinary flurry of microscopic activity designed entirely to heal you, to protect you, and to prepare you for the dawn. To understand how you fall asleep, we must first look at the invisible forces that have been gently guiding you toward this very moment since the second you woke up this morning. Your journey into sleep is governed by two entirely separate but harmonious biological mechanisms. The first of these mechanisms is known as sleep pressure, a system driven by a remarkable little molecule called adenosine. Imagine that adenosine as a chemical hourglass. From the moment you open your eyes in the morning and begin your day, your brain requires energy to think, to move, to speak, and to simply exist. As your brain cells consume energy, breaking down a core molecule called ATP, adenosine is left behind as a biological byproduct. Throughout the hours of your waking day, this adenosine steadily accumulates in your brain. It gathers in the basal forebrain and other regions, quietly binding to specific receptors. The longer you are awake, the more adenosine builds up. As the concentration of adenosine rises, it acts as a gentle, invisible weight, slowly pressing down on the wake-promoting centers of your brain, turning down their volume. By the time evening arrives, this sleep pressure has grown substantial. It is the heavy feeling behind your eyes, the soft lethargy in your lungs, the quiet desire to simply lie down and let go. This buildup of adenosine is entirely natural and perfectly designed to ensure that you eventually seek out the rest you need. When you finally sleep, your brain's lymphatic system, the geolymphatic system, will wash all of this accumulated adenosine away, clearing the hourglass so you can begin a new tomorrow. Right now, if you feel a sense of tiredness, it is simply the comforting presence of adenosine doing its job, wrapping around your mind like a soft, heavy blanket, encouraging you to rest. But adenosine is only half of the story. The second powerful force guiding you into the night is your circadian rhythm, the ancient, internal biological clock that aligns your physiology with the turning of the earth. Deep within the center of your brain, nestled in the hypothalamus, sits a tiny, beautiful cluster of approximately 20,000 neurons called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This microscopic timepiece is the master conductor of your body's daily rhythms. It does not tick in seconds or minutes, but in the slow, sweeping phases of light and dark. For millions of years, human biology evolved in direct relationship with the sun. When the sun rises, the bright, blue spectrum light pierces the atmosphere, enters our eyes, and strikes specialized photosensitive cells on our retinas. These cells send a rapid electrical signal straight along the optic nerve to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, announcing that the day has begun. The master clock then sends out biological alerts, suppressing sleep hormones, raising your body temperature, and releasing cortisol to make you alert and active. But as the day gently arcs toward evening, the angle of the sun changes. The harsh blue light scatters, replaced by the softer, warmer hues of amber, orange, and twilight purple. As the environment dims, the signals traveling from your eyes to your brain begin to change. The master clock registers the fading of the light and realizes that the earth is turning away from the sun. In response, it sends a quiet, chemical whisper to a tiny, cytochrome-shaped structure located deeper in the brain, known as the pineal gland. The pineal gland receives this message of impending darkness and responds by releasing the hormone melatonin into your bloodstream. Melatonin is often called the hormone of sleep, but it is perhaps more accurately described as the hormone of darkness, or the great biological usher of the night. Melatonin does not forcibly knock you out. Rather, it acts like a conductor dimming the house lights in a grand theater. It circulates through your body, binding to receptors in your brain and your organs, delivering a unified, systemic message. The time for active waking life is concluding. and the time for rest is approaching. As melatonin washes through your system, your body initiates a series of profoundly relaxing physiological changes. The sympathetic nervous system, which governs your fight or flight response and keeps you alert, slowly relinquishes its control. In its place, the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, takes the helm. This shift brings a wave of physical tranquility. Your heart rate begins to decelerate, beating with a slower, more rhythmic cadence. Your blood pressure gently drops, reducing the workload on your cardiovascular system. Simultaneously, an incredible process of thermogramation occurs. To enter deep sleep, your core body temperature needs to drop by a fraction of a degree. To achieve this, your body gently dilates the blood vessels in your hands, your feet, and the surface of your skin. This subtle vasodilatation allows the warm blood from your core to radiate outward, releasing heat into the surrounding air. It is why you might feel your hands and feet becoming slightly warmer as you get closer to sleep, a brilliant biological mechanism actively cooling your internal organs, signaling to your brain that the optimal conditions for hibernation have been met. As your body physically cools and calms, your brainwaves, the electrical signatures of your consciousness, begin their own slow descent. Throughout the day, when you are engaged, focused, or anxious, your brain operates primarily in beta waves. These are fast, erratic, high-frequency electrical pulses, representing a mind that is actively processing the external world. But as you lie here now, yielding to the heavy comfort of adenosine and the quiet signals of melatonin, those frantic beta waves are beginning to smooth out. They are lengthening into alpha waves, the gentle, rolling electrical currents of deep relaxation. Alpha waves are the signature of a mind that is awake but deeply at peace, resting with eyes closed, no longer analyzing or worrying. The mental chatter begins to soften, turning from a loud, crowded room into a distant, gentle murmur. You are standing on the very edge of the waking world, looking out over the calm, dark ocean of the night. As you continue to relax, as your breath remains slow and steady, your brain prepares to take the final, beautiful step across the threshold. The alpha waves will soon begin to stretch even further, morphing into the slower, undulating rhythms of theta waves. You are entering the hypnagogic state, a surreal and fleeting twilight zone where the logical constraints of the waking mind begin to dissolve. Oh, you might experience floating sensations, fragmented thoughts, or soft, abstract colors drifting behind your eyelids. You are safely detaching from the physical space around you, unmooring your consciousness from the shores of the day. There is nothing left to hold on to, and no reason to resist the gentle pull of the tide. The biology of rest has taken over, guiding you flawlessly down into the very first layer of the night, where the true journey begins. As you drift softly across the border of wakefulness, you enter the very first stage of the sleep cycle, a delicate and transient phase known to scientists as non-rapid eye movement stage 1, or N1. This is the shallowest water of the nocturnal ocean, the gentle transition where your consciousness begins to uncouple from the physical environment. In this fragile state, you are entirely relaxed, yet still tethered by a thin, invisible thread to the world around you. If a name or a door were to shut, you might easily be summoned back to full awareness, perhaps even believing you were never truly asleep at all. But beneath this surface fragility, your brain is quietly, inefficiently shutting down the complex machinery of daytime alertness. During this initial descent, the rolling, tranquil alpha waves of your relaxed waking mind begin to elongate further, giving way to the slower, more rhythmic frequencies of theta waves. Your muscles, which have carried the physical burden of the day, begin to deeply surrender. The tension in your jaw, your shoulders, and your spine dissolves as motor control is gently relinquished. Occasionally, as your body makes this profound transition, you might experience a sudden, fleeting sensation of falling, accompanied by a sharp physical twitch. This deeply human experience is known as a hypopenic jerk or a myoclonic twitch. For decades, scientists pondered the origin of this strange reflex. Today, we understand it as a beautiful, harmless echo of our evolutionary past. As your muscular system rapidly relaxes, your brain, momentarily confused by the sudden lack of sensory tension, misinterprets the deep physical release as a sensation of freefall. In an instinctual act of protection, it fires a brief, harmless surge of electrical energy to your motor cortex, causing your limbs to brace for a landing that will never come. It is simply the waking brain's final, protective sigh before it confidently hands over control to the architecture of sleep. If you ever feel this sudden twitch, you can simply recognize it as a biological confirmation that your body is successfully and safely powering down, letting go of the physical world. Soon, the shallow waters of stage 1 give way, and you sink a little deeper, drifting smoothly into the sanctuary of stage 2. This is where true, stable sleep begins. You will spend roughly half of your entire night residing in this peaceful, restorative zone. In stage 2, the final tethers to the outside world are gently, intentionally severed. Deep within the center of your brain sits a structure called the thalamus. Throughout the day, the thalamus acts as a grand sensory relay station, taking in the endless barrage of sights, sounds, and physical sensations from your environment and routing them up to your conscious cortex for processing. But now, in the quiet embrace of stage 2 sleep, the thalamus begins to systematically close its doors. It acts as a biological sensory gate, actively blocking external noise and environmental interruptions from reaching your awareness. The world outside continues to spin, but the thalamus ensures that your conscious mind is no longer obligated to pay attention to it. Yet, as the external world is shut out, the internal world of your brain becomes vibrantly, electrically alive. While stage 2 sleep feels entirely passive to the sleeping mind, a look at an electrific and lost eye recording of your brain's electrical activity reveals a breathtaking symphony of neurological action. The slow, rolling theta waves of this stage are suddenly unbeautifully interrupted by two distinct, magnificent electrical signatures, sleep spindles and K-complexes. Sleep spindles are brief, rapid bursts of high-frequency brainwave activity that last for only a second or two. On a monitor, they look like tightly coiled springs or sudden, energetic scribbles breaking up the slow rhythm of sleep. These spindles are generated deep within the thalamus and ripple outward across the surface of your cerebral cortex in a highly synchronized dance. For many years, their purpose was a mystery, but modern neuroscience has revealed that these tiny electrical storms are performing an astonishing feat of cognitive engineering. They are the neurobiologic mechanism of memory consolidation. Throughout your waking day, every new fact you learn, every name you hear, and every experience you encounter is temporarily stored in a structure called the hippocampus. You can think of the hippocampus as a short-term holding area, a temporary memory cache that has a limited capacity. By the end of a long day, this biological flash drive is full, completely saturated with the raw data of your waking life. If you were to continue without sleep, your ability to absorb new information would rapidly diminish. But now, as you rest in stage to sleep, the sleep spindles initiate a crucial transfer. With every rapid burst of high-frequency activity, your brain is actively ferrying information from the short-term storage of the hippocampus up into the vast, long-term storage vaults of the cerebral cortex. The spindles are physically moving your memories, cataloging the events of the day, filing away what is important, and clearing out the short-term cache so that you can wake up tomorrow with a renewed capacity to learn. As you lie in the quiet dark, doing absolutely nothing, your brain is diligently saving your life's experiences, weaving the chaotic threads of the day into the permanent tapestry of your identity. Each spindle is a microscopic act of archiving, preserving who you are and what you know. Alongside these rapid, buzzing sleep spindles, your brain produces a second, entirely different electrical phenomenon known as the K-complex. If a sleep spindle is a rapid, energetic scribble, the K-complex is a massive, slow, towering wave. It is the single largest and most dramatic electrical event that occurs in the healthy human brain. A K-complex sweeps across your cortex like a slow, powerful tide, a deep, voltage-heavy undulation that is both protective and profoundly calming. The K-complex serves to vital functions in the preservation of your rest. First, it acts as an internal neurological radar system. Even though the thalamus has largely blocked out the sensory world, a small, primitive part of your brain is always silently listening, standing guard over your vulnerable sleeping body. If a sound occurs in your environment, take our driving by, a floorboard creaking, a dog barking in the distance, your brain must instantly evaluate whether that sound represents a threat. If the sleeping brain determines the noise is harmless, it generates a massive K-complex. This sweeping electrical wave acts as a neurological silencer, suppressing cortical arousal and actively pulling your consciousness back down into the depths of sleep. It is your brain's way of saying, "I hear it. It is safe. Do not wake up." Second, the slow, towering wave of the K-complex helps to facilitate the ongoing physical maintenance of your brain. As this massive electrical impulse travels across the cortical surface, it helps to synchronize the activity of billions of neurons, coaxing them to fire in unison and then rest in unison. This synchronization paves the way for the profound, slow-wave rhythms that are soon to come. With every K-complex, your brain is deepening your tranquility, actively wrapping a layer of neurological insulation around your sleeping mind, ensuring that your rest remains unbroken and undisturbed. As you linger in this soothing, protective space of stage 2, your body continues its gentle physical deceleration. Your breathing has settled into an autonomic, metronomic perfection, a slow, rhythmic exchange of oxygen that requires no conscious effort. Your heart rate is lower now than it has been all day, beating with a calm, deliberate efficiency, resting its muscular walls. Your core temperature has successfully dropped, creating the ideal internal climate for cellular repair. The heavy, warm blanket of adenosine continues to embrace your nervous system, while the dark, quiet influence of melatonin ensures the biological doors to the waking world remain firmly shut. You are entirely safe. You are surrounded by the meticulous, invisible care of your own biology. Your brain is guarding your memories, silencing the noise of the world, and holding you in a state of profound peace. The shallow waters have been successfully navigated, and the transition from wakefulness is complete. You are now unmoored, drifting gently in the calm, quiet middle depths of the night. But this is not the final destination. The electrical activity in your brain is preparing for yet another magnificent shift. The rapid spindles in the towering K-complexes will soon begin to subside, making way for something much older, much slower, and deeply transformative. You are moving toward the deepest restorative state the human body can achieve. You are sinking past the reach of light, past the whispers of the waking world, descending gracefully toward the profound, healing silence that awaits in the very bottom of the nocturnal ocean. As the rapid, energetic bursts of sleep spindles in the towering, protective swells of the K-complexes begin to quietly fade, your mind prepares to cross another profound threshold. You are leaving the tranquil, shallow waters of stage 2 and sinking downward, descending slowly and gracefully into the profound, lightless depths of the nocturnal ocean. You are now entering stage 3 of non-rapid eye movement sleep. In the scientific community, this is known as slow wave sleep. To the rest of us, it is simply called deep sleep. This is the absolute core of your physical restoration. It is the most vital, the most grounding, and the most deeply healing phase of your entire night. Here, in the deepest trench of the sleep cycle, the electrical landscape of your brain undergoes a monumental transformation. The scattered, busy frequencies of your waking life are completely gone. Even the gentle, rolling theta waves of light sleep have been entirely washed away. In their place, your brain begins to generate delta waves. Delta waves are the slowest, the largest, and the most magnificent electrical patterns that the human brain can produce. If the brainwaves of your waking day are like the frantic, chaotic surface of a rain-swept lake, delta waves are the deep, massive, majestic swells of the open ocean, moving with a slow, undeniable power. These delta waves sweep across your cerebral cortex at a profoundly low frequency, undulating just 1 to 4 times per second. What is truly beautiful about this electrical shift is the extraordinary cellular harmony it represents. Throughout the day, the billions of neurons in your brain are firing in total isolation, chattering in a million different frequencies as you process different thoughts, sights, and emotions. It is a chaotic, beautiful noise. But now, in the embrace of deep sleep, that chaos is silenced. The delta waves synchronize the electrical activity of your brain. Millions of neurons are now firing together, and then pausing together, resting in total silence before firing again in one unified, monumental rhythm. It is a slow, cellular chant, a deep biological resonance echoing through the dark, quiet canyons of your mind. Because of this intense, synchronized rhythm, the sensory gate of your thalamus, which began to close in stage 2, is now locked entirely shut. You have become an island, beautifully isolated and perfectly insulated from the demands of the external world. You are unmoored from the physical space of your bedroom, disconnected from the ticking of the clock, the temperature of the air, and the sounds of the night. It is exceptionally difficult to wake someone from this stage of deep sleep, and that is exactly as nature intended. Your body has deliberately built this heavy, impenetrable fortress of slow wave sleep around you so that it can finally, without any interruption, perform the miraculous work of physical healing. As you rest in this silent sanctuary, your physical body reaches its lowest baseline of the entire 24-hour cycle. Your breathing is incredibly slow, deep, and perfectly measured. Your heart rate slows to a tranquil, effortless drumbeat, giving your cardiovascular system a profound and necessary respite from the rigorous demands of gravity and physical exertion. Your blood pressure drops significantly, allowing your veins and arteries to relax and repair their microscopic linings. Even your core body temperature reaches its absolute lowest point. You are resting in a state of suspended animation, a perfect biological stillness that allows the internal maintenance crews of your body to finally step forward and begin their vital, silent work. The first of these miraculous processes is orchestrated deep within the center of your brain by a tiny, pea-sized structure called the pituitary gland. As the sweeping, rhythmic delta waves wash over your brain, the pituitary gland receives a powerful biological signal to open its chemical floodgates. In response, it releases a massive, concentrated pulse of human growth hormone into your bloodstream. This hormone is the great silent architect of physical restoration. It is the molecular fountain of youth, coursing through your veins, traveling to every muscle fiber, every bone, and every organ in your physical form. Throughout the day, simply by existing, moving, and functioning, your body accumulates tiny, invisible damages. Muscle fibers sustain microscopic tears. Tissues experience the natural wear and tear of cellular metabolism. You do not feel this damage, but it is always there, the inevitable cost of a life in motion. Now, as you lie perfectly still in the depths of slow-wave sleep, human growth hormone sets to work. It binds to receptors across your body, directing amino acids to synthesize new proteins, patching the microscopic tears in your muscles, strengthening your bone density, and regenerating the tissues of your vital organs. This is the moment your body actually heals. The physical exhaustion you felt at the end of the day is being actively, meticulously dismantled and replaced with fresh, new cellular strength. Simultaneously, while your muscular system is being meticulously rebuilt, your immune system uses the profound quiet of deep sleep to replenish its own vital arsenals. During slow-wave sleep, your body ramps up its production of specialized immune cells, including T cells and cytokinins. Cytokinins are fascinating, multi-purpose proteins that act as both the messengers and the soldiers of your immune system. They target inflammation, fight off microscopic invaders, and coordinate the body's response to stress and infection. By retreating into deep sleep, you are essentially pulling your immune system off the front lines of daytime environmental defense, allowing it to retreat into the barracks, resupply its resources, and forge new biological weapons. When you are deprived of this deep, slow-wave slumber, your immune system cannot adequately restock these vital proteins, leaving you vulnerable. But tonight, cradled in the perfect stillness of delta sleep, your body is actively building a microscopic shield around you, ensuring that you will wake up tomorrow not only physically repaired but biologically fortified, armed and ready to face whatever invisible challenges the new day might present. Yet, as astonishing as this physical repair is, perhaps the most breathtaking miracle of deep sleep occurs entirely within the locked vault of your skull. For decades, scientists believed that the brain was the only organ in the human body that did not possess a lymphatic system, the vital biological plumbing network that washes away cellular waste. Because the brain was thought to lack this system, it was a mystery how it survived the massive accumulation of toxic byproducts that build up during the intense metabolic furnace of waking life. But modern science recently uncovered a hidden, majestic mechanism that only activates when you are pulled down into the depths of slow-wave sleep. It is called the geolymphatic system, and its operation is nothing short of a biological masterpiece. As you transitioned into deep sleep, something incredible happened to the very physical structure of your brain. The glial cells, the supporting, architectural cells that surround your neurons, actually began to shrink. They contracted in size by up to 60%. As these cells pull back, they drastically widen the microscopic spaces between your brain cells, turning the tightly packed neural tissue into a vast, open, spongy network. Once these spaces are opened, cerebrospinous fluid, the clear, vital liquid that surrounds your brain and spinal cord, rushes into the brain tissue. It is driven by the slow, powerful pulsing of your arterial blood vessels, synchronized perfectly with the slow, sweeping rhythm of the delta waves. This clear fluid washes through the intricate corridors of your brain, sweeping around the shrinking glial cells, flushing through the valleys of the cortex and the deep structures of the midbrain. It acts as a massive biological power washer, clearing away the toxic metabolic debris that has been slowly suffocating your neurons all day long. Among the waste being carried away are dangerous, sticky proteins, known as amyloid beta and tau. When you are awake, these proteins accumulate rapidly. If they are allowed to linger, they clump together, forming toxic plaques that disrupt neural communication and cause long-term cognitive decline. But right now, in the deepest trench of the night, the slow, rhythmic tide of the geolymphatic system is carrying all of this away. The cerebrospinous fluid grabs hold of the adenosine that made you so tired, the toxic proteins and metabolic exhaust, washing it all out of the brain and dumping it safely into the circulatory system, where your liver can quietly process and remove it. With every slow, pulsing wave of delta sleep, your brain is actively cleansing itself, washing the windows of your perception, sweeping the floors of your memory, and restoring the pristine, delicate chemical balance necessary for brilliant waking thought. You are completely unaware of this magnificent internal symphony. You feel no pain, no effort, and no exertion. You are only experiencing a profound, enveloping nothingness. It is the deeply comforting void of absolute rest. Your mind is resting in a silent, dreamless state, entirely free from the burdens of memory, anticipation, and identity. You are simply existing as pure, restorative biology cradled in the slow, ancient rhythms of the natural world. For the first half of the night, you will spend most of your time anchored in this deep, healing sanctuary. Your body will continuously soak in the physical and neurological benefits of slow-wave sleep, repairing the damage of yesterday and preparing the strength for tomorrow. It is a slow, patient, and beautiful process that cannot be rushed and cannot be replicated by any other force on earth. But as the hours slowly pass, as the tissues are repaired and the brain is meticulously washed, the heavy, towering delta waves will gradually begin to lose their absolute dominance. The body's most urgent physical repairs will be completed, and the brain will sense that it is time to shift its focus from the healing of the flesh to the intricate, emotional remodeling of the mind. Slowly, gently, the electrical synchronization will begin to break apart. The massive, rolling ocean swells of delta sleep will begin to fracture into faster, more varied frequencies. The profound physical paralysis will subtly shift, and the core temperature of your body will begin to undergo microscopic changes. You will begin to rise from the deepest, darkest trenches of the nocturnal ocean, floating effortlessly upward, moving toward a much warmer, far more active, and extraordinarily vivid layer of the night. You are ascending from the dreamless dark, approaching the wild, colorful, and deeply mysterious shores of the dreaming mind. As you slowly ascend from the lightless, silent depths of delta sleep, a profound and intricate shift begins to ripple across the landscape of your mind. You are rising from the deepest trenches of the nocturnal ocean, leaving behind the heavy, synchronized stillness of slow-wave sleep. The massive, rolling electrical currents that meticulously repaired your physical body are now quietly fracturing, breaking apart into faster, more delicate frequencies. You are floating effortlessly upward, drifting closer and closer to the surface of consciousness. Yet you are not waking up. Instead, you are approaching a spectacular, hidden world that exists entirely within the confines of your own slumber. You are entering the stage of rapid eye movement, the extraordinary biological theater of REM sleep. For the first time since you closed your eyes, the quiet, restful nature of your brain undergoes a sudden and breathtaking transformation. If a scientist were observing your brainwaves at this very moment, they would see an astonishing paradox. The deep, sweeping waves of physical restoration disappear, replaced by an eruption of rapid, energetic electrical activity. Your brainwaves accelerate dramatically, mimicking the exact fast-paced, high-frequency patterns of a mind that is fully awake, alert, and intensely focused. The electrical signature of your brain in REM sleep is almost indistinguishable from the electrical signature of your brain when you are navigating a busy street or solving a complex puzzle. Because of this extraordinary burst of internal activity, scientists often refer to REM sleep as paradoxical sleep. Your brain is roaring to life, firing with vibrant, chaotic energy, while your physical body remains entirely motionless. This profound separation between a hyperactive mind and a perfectly still body is one of the most brilliant and protective mechanisms in human biology. As you cross the threshold into REM sleep, a highly specific signal is generated deep within the ancient, foundational structure of your brainstem. This signal travels rapidly down the length of your spinal cord, radiating outward through your entire nervous system. It acts as a biological master switch, delivering a powerful and systemic pulse and to your voluntary muscles. Instantly, all motor control is disconnected. The muscles in your arms, your legs, your core, and your neck lose all tension. You are enveloped in a state of profound, temporary paralysis known as REM atonia. This total physical lockdown may sound unnerving to the waking mind, but right now, as you drift in the sanctuary of sleep, it is the ultimate embrace of safety. Your body is deliberately anchoring you to the bed. It is locking your physical form in place so that your mind can freely and wildly explore the boundless landscapes of your dreams. Without this paralyzing signal, you would physically act out every movement, every run, and every gesture that occurs within your dreaming world, risking injury and disrupting the sacred continuity of your rest. REM atonia is your brain's way of unmooring the ship of your consciousness while ensuring the vessel of your body remains securely tied to the dock. While your limbs are completely immobilized, two incredibly specific parts of your body are deliberately spared from this paralysis. The first, of course, are the involuntary muscles that control your breathing and the beating of your heart, keeping you safely tethered to life. The second exception is an intricate network of tiny, delicate muscles surrounding your eyes. As your brain ignites with the vivid, hallucinatory imagery of dreams, these small muscles suddenly awaken. Beneath your closed eyelids, your eyes begin to dart back and forth in rapid, sweeping, and erratic motions. It is from this delicate flutter that rapid eye movements sleep takes its name. These swift, silent movements are not random muscle spasms. They are profoundly tied to the visual masterpiece that is currently being projected across the inner screen of your mind. When you dream, your visual cortex, the large area at the back of your brain responsible for processing sight, becomes incredibly active. Even though your eyes are closed to the dark room around you, your brain is actively seeing. It is painting vivid, high-definition landscapes, rendering complex faces, and building entire three-dimensional worlds out of nothing but memory and imagination. As your eyes dart horizontally and vertically beneath your lids, you are actually looking around within your dream. You are scanning the incredible, ephemeral architecture that your own mind is constructing in real time. But the visual cortex is only one instrument in the grand neurological symphony of REM sleep. As you delve deeper into this stage, the emotional centers of your brain surge with an astonishing level of energy. Deep within your temporal lobes, a pair of almond-shaped clusters, called the amygdala, roars to life. The amygdala is the emotional fire alarm of your brain, the core processing center for your deepest feelings, your fears, your passions, and your desires. During your waking hours, the activity of the amygdala is carefully regulated, kept in check by the logical, reasoning parts of your mind. But now, in the depths of REM sleep, it is operating at up to 30% greater activity than when you are completely awake. Alongside the amygdala, your hippocampus, the vault of your memories, is also wildly active, supplying a rapid, continuous stream of past experiences, locations, and faces. Your brain is actively weaving these memories together with intense emotional currents, creating the rich, immersive, and sometimes overwhelming tapestry of a dream. Yet, as these emotional and visual centers operate at a fever pitch, another crucial region of your brain goes entirely, silently dark. The prefrontal cortex, the highly evolved, logical, and rational command center located directly behind your forehead, shuts down almost completely. This is the part of your brain responsible for critical thinking, for understanding the laws of physics, for maintaining a sense of time, and for distinguishing fact from fiction. With the rational CEO of your brain fast asleep, and the emotional and visual centers running the show, the biological stage is set for the beautiful absurdity of dreams. This is precisely why, when you are immersed in a dream, you can step through a door in your childhood home and suddenly find yourself standing on the surface of a foreign planet. Or why you can have a deeply emotional conversation with someone who passed away years ago, and never once questioned the reality of the experience. The mechanism of logic has been deliberately switched off, allowing you to accept the bizarre, the impossible, and the miraculous with absolute, unquestioning certainty. But this strange, hallucinatory theater is not merely a nighttime entertainment system. It is a profoundly vital biological necessity. The surreal landscape of REM sleep serves as an emotional pressure valve, a critical form of overnight psychological therapy that is essential for your mental health and emotional stability. To understand the healing power of dreams, we must look at a fascinating and unique chemical shift that occurs only during REM sleep. Throughout your waking day, and even during the lighter stages of your sleep, your brain is bathed in a stress-related chemical called noradrenaline. Noradrenaline is the brain's equivalent of adrenaline, It is the chemical responsible for the feelings of anxiety, urgency, and the physical tension associated with stress. But the moment you cross the threshold into REM sleep, the production of noradrenaline ceases entirely. The levels of this stress chemical in your brain drop to zero. This is the only time in the entire 24-hour cycle of human biology that your brain is completely free from the influence of this anxiety-inducing molecule. This chemical environment provides a neurobiologic safe haven. It creates a calm, stress-free chemical bath in which your brain can perform its most delicate and difficult work, the processing of emotional memories. Throughout the day, you experience countless events that carry an emotional charge. Some are joyful, but some are difficult, stressful, embarrassing, or deeply painful. If you were to store these memories exactly as they occurred, carrying their raw, visceral emotional weight forever, your mind would quickly become overwhelmed by the sheer burden of feeling. Instead, your brain uses the noradrenaline-free environment of REM sleep to systematically process these experiences. It reactivates the painful memories, bringing them back to life in the bizarre theater of your dreams. But because there is no stress chemical present, you are able to re-experience the memory without the crippling emotional pain that originally accompanied it. Your dreaming brain acts as an extraordinarily gentle therapist. It takes the difficult experiences of your waking life, strips away the sharp, visceral edges of the emotional trauma, and files the memory away in a neutral, safe state. This is why a situation that felt incredibly overwhelming or devastating today often feels significantly more manageable and less painful the morning after a good night's sleep. Your dreams have quietly done the heavy lifting, digesting your emotional distress and restoring your psychological equilibrium. As you lie here now, perfectly still, your brain is actively healing your heart. Beyond this profound emotional first aid, REM sleep also acts as the ultimate engine for human creativity and problem solving. During this stage, your brain is engaged in a phenomenon known as hyperassociative processing. When you are awake, your logical mind is very rigid in how it connects information. It relies on obvious, linear pathways. But in the strange, logic-free environment of REM sleep, your brain is free to cast a much wider net. It takes the new information you learned today and begins to recklessly and beautifully cross-reference it with the massive back catalog of everything you have ever known, experienced, or witnessed. It looks for distant, non-obvious connections, linking disparate ideas together in ways that your waking mind would never dare to attempt. This is the biological foundation of the sleep-on-it phenomenon. When you are struggling with a complex problem during the day, your rational mind often gets stuck in a loop. But when you surrender that problem to the chaotic, hyper-connected network of REM sleep, your dreaming brain rapidly sorts through millions of potential combinations. It tests out bizarre solutions, weaves together unrelated concepts, and frequently discovers the hidden, brilliant answer. You wake up with a sudden, seemingly magical insight, unaware of the immense, computational labor your mind performed while you were paralyzed in the dark. As you drift softly through this vibrant, emotional, and hyper-creative realm, the first full cycle of your sleep reaches its grand crescendo. You have traveled entirely through the architecture of the night. You descended through the shallow, protective waters of light sleep, sank into the profound, physical restoration of the slow-wave depths, and ascended into the wildly active, emotional sanctuary of your dreams. That the journey is not over. Human sleep is not a single, linear plunge, but a rhythmic, beautiful oscillation. As this first period of REM sleep gradually draws to a close, the intense, rapid firing of your brainwaves begins to soften once again. The emotional centers dim. The visual theater closes its curtains, and the profound physical paralysis of your muscles gently releases its grip. You find yourself back at the edge of the descent. Your brain prepares to dive once more, plunging back down into the slower, quieter depths to begin the next cycle. Throughout the remainder of the night, you will ride these invisible, biological waves, swinging between the deep repair of the body and the vibrant healing of the mind, trusting entirely in the exquisite, ancient intelligence that guides you safely through the dark. As the vibrant, hallucinatory theater of your first period of rapid eye movement sleep gracefully concludes, a subtle and profound shift begins to wash through your nervous system. The rapid, chaotic electrical storms that illuminated the visual and emotional centers of your brain quietly begin to subside. The intense, hypervatic frequencies soften, smoothing out like the surface of a lake after a sudden, fleeting rain shower. The profound physical paralysis, the protective embrace of REM aonia that held you safely in your bed gently releases its grip on your muscles. You are floating back toward the shallower waters of consciousness, arriving softly at the end of your very first sleep cycle, but you are not waking up to the morning just yet. Instead, you are standing on the threshold of a magnificent, repeating biological symphony. Human sleep is not a single flat expanse of unconsciousness, nor is it a simple switch that flips off at night and on in the morning. It is a dynamic, rolling architecture, a series of beautifully orchestrated waves that you will ride continuously until the dawn. As you lie here, safe and warm, your brain is preparing to dive once more, beginning the journey all over again, descending back down into the comforting, familiar depths. This continuous, rhythmic plunging and rising is governed by a phenomenal biological timer known as an ultradian rhythm. While your circadian rhythm manages the 24-hour cycle of your waking and sleeping life, your ultradian rhythms operate on a much shorter scale, managing the delicate fluctuations within the night itself. Every 90 to 110 minutes, your brain meticulously guides you through a complete cycle of sleep. You will transition from the light, transient shores of Stage 1, down through the protective spindles of Stage 2, plunging deep into the cellular restoration, slow wave sleep, and finally soaring back up into the vivid, emotional landscapes of REM. Tonight, if you sleep for a full 8 hours, you will complete this astonishing 90-minute journey approximately 5 times. You will ride these 5 massive biological waves,
Atlantis on its
each
way,
one
all
a
3
perfectly
engines now
enclosed
throttling
journey
down
of
into the
physical
area
and
begins as
emotional
the vehicle
healing.
passes through the area of maximum
There is a deep,
dynamic pressure.
profound comfort in this repetition.
Houston, no action on
You
the
do not have to
MPSP
consciously
throughout
manage it. You do not have to direct the tides of your own mind.
8,
You simply have to surrender
6,
to the water,
5,
allowing the ancient,
3,
flawless clock
2,
of your brain
1,
to guide you from one
0,
stage to the
and
next,
liftoff
over and
of
over
Space
again,
Shuttle
in a
Atlantis
steady,
on a mission to build,
unbroken rhythm of
resupply,
repair.
and to do research
However,
on the International
These
Space
5
Station.
cycles are not identical.
Houston now controlling.
The architecture
Atlantis
of your
begins
night
its
is
penultimate journey
brilliantly
to shore off the
asymmetrical,
International Space Station.
designed by millions of years of evolution to
Atlantis
ensure
now
your
in the proper
absolute
alignment for its
survival.
8.5-minute ride to orbit.
Your brain
4.5
operates on a
pounds of
system of
hardware and humans
biological
taking aim on the
trials,
international outpost.
prioritizing the most critical repairs first. During the first half
30
of the
seconds
night,
into the
the
flight,
90-minute
Atlantis
cycles
almost
are
2
heavily
miles in
dominated
altitude,
by
almost
deep,
6 miles downrange
slow
from the Kennedy
wave
Space
sleep.
Center already,
When
traveling
you dive
500
into
miles
these
an
early
hour.
cycles, you plunge incredibly deep.
The 3 liquid
You
fuel
stay
main
there
engines
for
now
a long
throttling back to
time.
72%
The
of rated
slow,
performance, going into the
sweeping
bucket,
delta
reducing the
waves
stress
take
on
up
the
the
shuttle as
vast
it breaks through the
majority
sound
of the
barrier.
90 minutes, relentlessly focused on the physical restoration of your body. Your immune system is fortified, your tissues are repaired, and the geolymphatic system vigorously washes away the metabolic toxins from your brain. In these early hours or EM, sleep is brief, sometimes lasting only 5 or 10 minutes before the brain pulls you back down into the dark. Evolution engineered your sleep this way to protect you. In the ancient, ancestral environments where human biology evolved, the night was fraught with uncertainty. There was no guarantee that early humans would be able to sleep undisturbed for a full 8 hours. Recognizing this, the brain forces the body to consume its deep, physically restorative sleep as quickly and as heavily as possible in the first few hours of the night. It is securing your physical survival first, ensuring that if you were suddenly awakened by a predator or a storm in the middle of the night, your body would have already received the absolute minimum physical maintenance required to function and survive the next day. As you rest right now, in the early stages of your night, you are soaking up this essential, foundational healing, building the absolute core of your physical strength. As the hours gently pass, and the most urgent physical repairs are successfully completed, the shape of the sleep cycles begins to slowly, beautifully shift. As you move into the second half of the night, the deep, lightless wrenches of slow wave sleep become shallower and shorter. Your brain senses that the body has been sufficiently repaired, and it reallocates its energy, shifting its focus from the physical maintenance of the flesh to the emotional and cognitive maintenance of the mind. In these later cycles, as the dawn begins to slowly approach, the periods of REM sleep become longer, richer, and more expansive. A REM cycle that lasted only 10 minutes in the first half of the night may stretch to 40 or even 50 minutes in the final cycles before you wake. You will spend the vast majority of your early morning hours floating in this hypervadic, dreaming state. Your brain uses this extended time to untangle the complex emotional webs of your life, to file away your memories, and to forge those brilliant, unexpected creative connections. This beautiful asymmetry, the body healing primarily in the first half of the night, and the mind healing primarily in the second, is why every single hour of sleep is so incredibly precious. If you cut your sleep short, waking up 2 hours earlier than you naturally should, you are not simply losing 25% of your total sleep. Because the majority of REM sleep is backloaded into those final hours, losing the last 2 hours of the night means you might be losing up to 60 or 70% of your entire dream state. You are depriving your brain of its essential emotional therapy and memory consolidation. But tonight, there are no alarms to cut your journey short. You have all the time in the world to ride these waves to their natural, gentle shores, allowing both your body and your mind to receive the full, magnificent spectrum of their healing. Between each of these 90-minute cycles, something incredibly delicate and deeply hidden occurs. As you rise from the depths of REM sleep, before plunging back down into the next cycle, you actually, for a brief and fleeting moment, wake up. These are known as micro-awakenings, and they are an entirely natural, necessary, and brilliant feature of human slumber. For a few brief seconds, the heavy veil of sleep lifts. Your consciousness crests the surface of the water. You are awake. But this is not the sharp, alarming wake-up-signals of the day. It is a soft, blurry, transient state. During these microscopic moments of wake-up-signals, your ancient, primitive brain is performing a vital biological safety check. It is acting as a silent sentinel, briefly scanning the environment to ensure that the physical conditions of your resting place have not changed, and that you are still perfectly safe. Your brain registers the temperature of the air, the heavy comfort of the blankets, and the silent, familiar shadows of the room. It listens for any anomalies in the ambient noise. It is a simple, evolutionary question being asked in the dark. Am I still safe? Simultaneously, these brief awakenings serve a crucial physical purpose. While your body is delightfully paralyzed during REM sleep to protect you from acting out your dreams, remaining perfectly still for 8 solid hours would be physically detrimental. Blood could begin to pool in certain extremities, and prolonged pressure on specific joints, muscles, and patches of skin could reduce circulation and cause discomfort. So, in these brief, hazy moments between cycles, your brain temporarily restores your full motor control. It sends a quiet signal to your muscular system, prompting you to move. You might softly roll over from your left side to your right. You might shift a leg, adjust the angle of your neck on the pillow, or pull the blanket a little higher over your shoulders. This movement relieves the physical pressure points, redistributes your body weight, and ensures perfectly smooth, unobstructed circulation of your blood for the next 90 minutes. Once the brain has confirmed that the environment is secure and the body has successfully adjusted its posture, the sentinel gives the all clear. The safety check is complete. Without a moment of hesitation, the brain releases the heavy, comforting blanket of sleep chemicals once more, and you instantly slip back beneath the surface, beginning your descent into the next cycle. The most beautiful and comforting aspect of these micro-awakenings is that you will remember absolutely none of them. As part of its exquisite design, the sleeping brain actively suppresses the formation of new memories during these brief, conscious moments. The mechanism of the hippocampus, the brain's memory recorder, is essentially left unplugged. This temporary, biological amnesia is a profound act of neurological kindness. If you were to remember waking up 5 or 6 times every night to shift your weight or scan the room, your perception of your rest would be shattered. You would feel as though your night was fragmented, restless, and broken. Instead, your brain shields you from these logistical interruptions. It seamlessly stitches the edges of the sleep cycles together, editing out the brief moments of wakefulness, leaving you with the psychological illusion of one solid, uninterrupted block of peaceful slumber. You go to sleep, the world disappears, and then you wake up to the morning light, completely unaware of the diligent, protective management your brain performed in the dark. As you lie here now, yielding to the heavy, gravitational pull of the night, you can take immense comfort in the absolute reliability of these cycles. Your body knows exactly what to do. It has been practicing this magnificent rhythm since before you were born. You do not need to try to sleep. You do not need to force the waves to crash or the tides to turn. Your only task is to simply let go. With every breath, you are sinking deeper into the rhythm. The cycles are spinning like a slow, silent clockwork, measuring out the precise doses of physical repair and emotional healing that you require. The adenosine continues to hold you in its heavy, tranquil embrace, while the melatonin guards the gates against the waking world. Your physical form is safe. Your memories are being gently preserved. Your emotional burdens are being quietly dismantled in the surreal theaters of your dreams. Every 90 minutes, you are washed clean, rebuilt, and fortified, cycle after cycle, wave after wave. And as your brain masters these grand, sweeping phases of the night, shifting effortlessly between the deep, dreamless dark and the vibrant shores of imagination, your physical body continues its own relentless, silent work. Beneath the majestic waves of your brainwaves, operating with the quiet, beautiful autonomy, your heart and your lungs are performing their own ancient, synchronized dance, maintaining the most fundamental rhythms of your life. As the delicate, electrical storms of memory consolidation gently soften and fade into the vast, folded landscapes of your neocortex, the profound, intelligent focus of your body prepares for yet another breathtaking transition. The grand archivist of your mind has successfully preserved the narrative of your day, weaving your fragile, short-term experiences into the permanent, structural tapestry of your identity. With the library of your consciousness beautifully secured, the immense, unseen energies of your biology begin to slowly descend from the ethereal networks of your brain. They flow downward, radiating outward from your brainstem, traveling through the quiet, resting pathways of your nervous system, and arriving at the very core of your physical being. You are now crossing the threshold where the electrical realm of thought flawlessly merges with the fierce, silent armor of your body's most ancient protective mechanisms. It is time for the awakening of your immune system. Throughout the long, demanding hours of your waking day, your immune system is forced to operate in a state of continuous, reactive vigilance. As you move through the world, breathing the shared air, touching surfaces, and interacting with the environment, you are constantly encountering an invisible, microscopic universe of pathogens, bacteria, and foreign microbes. To protect you, your immune system mounts a low-level, continuous defense, a quiet biological friction that requires an immense amount of energy. But because your waking body is already spending so much of its power on conscious movement, digestion, and thought, the immune system is fundamentally restricted. It can only fight the most immediate battles, holding the line against the invisible world while you go about your day. But now, as you lie here perfectly still, swathed in the heavy, comforting blanket of the night, everything has changed. The physical demands of the world have completely evaporated. Your heart rate is beautifully slow, your blood pressure is low, and your voluntary muscles are entirely at rest. This profound physical stillness creates a massive surplus of internal energy, and your body, in its infinite evolutionary wisdom, redirects every single drop of that surplus directly into the magnificent. As the deep lightless hours of the midnight phase gently begin to recede, the fundamental architecture of your sleep undergoes a magnificent structural evolution. You have spent the first half of the night plunging into the heaviest, most physically restorative depths of the nocturnal ocean. Your body has successfully harvested the profound benefits of slow-wave sleep. The microscopic tears in your muscles have been meticulously repaired. Your cellular waste has been washed away by the rhythmic pulsing of the geo-lymphatic system. And your immune system has forged the brilliant, highly specific biological armor required to protect you from the invisible challenges of the world. With the physical vessel now beautifully secured, deeply healed, and perfectly fortified, the ancient, intelligent triage of your brain seamlessly shifts its priority. The long towering delta waves that anchored you to the ocean floor gradually begin to diminish in both their overwhelming frequency and their duration. In their place, your sleep cycles begin to tilt, altering their internal balance, favoring a much lighter, more electrically vibrant, and deeply emotional state of being. You are rising toward the surface, spending less time in the dark, dreamless trenches, and expanding your time in the colorful, kaleidoscopic shallows of extended rapid eye-movement sleep. You are transitioning from the absolute healing of the flesh to the intricate, breathtaking, undoubtedly vital healing of the human mind. In these final, sprawling cycles that bridge the massive gap between the deep night and the approaching morning. The periods of REM sleep become remarkably elongated, where your very first dream state, hours ago, may have lasted only a fleeting 10 minutes before pulling you back down into the dark. These late-night REM cycles can stretch out for 40, 50, or even a continuous 60 minutes at a time. This deliberate biological backloading of REM sleep is an exquisite, evolutionary design. Your brain, now completely assured that your body will survive the physical demands of tomorrow, dedicates vast, uninterrupted expanses of time to ensure that your mind will survive the profound emotional and cognitive demands of your existence. It is during these prolonged, richly oxygenated, and highly active periods of late-night dreaming that the most profound psychological healing occurs. The canvas of your consciousness is being swept clean, and the intricate, emotional webs of your life are delicately, beautifully untangled. To perform this delicate psychological surgery, your brain relies entirely on the uniquely soothing neuromechanical environment that exists only within the boundaries of REM sleep. As you drift effortlessly through these extended, cinematic dream states, the production of noradrenalines, the potent chemical of stress, anxiety, panic, and waking vigilance remains completely, unequivocally shut off. Your brain is essentially bathed in a perfectly calm, stress-free neuromechanical ocean. The rivers of your mind flow with absolutely no friction. Within this profound internal safety, the emotional command center of your brain, the amygdala, is allowed to fire with extraordinary, uninhibited intensity. During the day, the amygdala's fiery reactions are heavily suppressed and managed by the prefrontal cortex, the logical, rational manager sitting just behind your forehead. But right now, the logical manager is asleep, and the emotional core is fully awake. This creates a deeply surreal, hyper-emotional landscape within your mind, one that is entirely divorced from the rigid laws of physics and waking logic. In this bizarre, liberated state, your sleeping brain deliberately calls up the most emotionally charged, difficult, or confusing experiences of your recent waking life. It reaches into the hippocampus, the vault of your daily memories, and reactivates the specific neural pathways that carry a heavy psychological burden. It summons the memory of an argument, a moment of profound embarrassment, a sudden spike of fear, or a lingering, undefined anxiety. It takes these raw, sharp memories and weaves them into the surreal narrative of your dreams. You are made to re-experience these events, but because you are entirely enveloped in the stress-free chemical bath of REM sleep, you are able to process the memory without the visceral, physical anxiety that originally accompanied it. The sharp, painful edges of your waking experiences are gently, methodically sanded down. This is the brilliant, quiet miracle of overnight therapy. Your brain is actively decoupling the factual memory of an event from the painful, crippling emotional response it initially provoked. It is a slow, methodical process of emotional digestion. Through the bizarre, often abstract, and highly symbolic narratives of your extended morning dreams, your mind is digesting your distress, processing your hidden anxieties, and restoring your psychological equilibrium. It is stripping away the toxic emotional charge of the day, filing the memory away in a neutral, safe, and manageable state. This deep processing is ensuring that when you finally open your eyes to the new day, you will not be crippled by the emotional baggage of yesterday. You will not carry the accumulated weight of 1,000 small traumas. Instead, you will wake up with a renewed sense of resilience, your emotional thermostat perfectly reset to a baseline of calm, rational clarity. The pain of the past has been gently dissolved in the waters of your dreams, leaving behind only the wisdom of the experience. Alongside this profound emotional recalibration, these elongated, late-night, REM periods serve as the ultimate, unparalleled engine for human creativity and cognitive brilliance. As your conscious, logical mind sleeps deeply, an entirely different, wildly brilliant form of intelligence takes over. During these extended dreams, your brain is flooded with acetylcholine, a powerful neurotransmitter that sparks vivid, high-definition imagery and intense, boundless cognitive flexibility. Your mind engages in a phenomenon as hyper-associative processing. It casts a massive, sweeping net across the vast, infinite archives of your entire life's memory. It completely ignores the obvious, linear connections that your waking mind relies upon to navigate the practical world. Instead, it searches for hidden patterns, distant associations, and novel, entirely unexpected solutions. Information you learned yesterday is recklessly and beautifully mashed together with experiences from years ago. A conversation you had last week is suddenly spliced with a piece of music you heard in childhood, set against the backdrop of a landscape you have never actually seen. The brain runs millions of high-speed micro-simulations, testing out bizarre scenarios, connecting completely disparate dots, and forging entirely new neural pathways that bridge massive gaps in your understanding. This hyper-connected dreaming state is the neurobiologic birthplace of true inspiration. It is the very reason why you can struggle with a complex problem for days, feeling entirely stuck and mentally exhausted, only to wake up after a long, dream-rich sleep with a sudden, crystal-clear epiphany. Your sleeping brain, unchained from the rigid, literal laws of waking logic, has spent these fair-den hours wandering through the endless, dark corridors of your knowledge, unlocking doors that your conscious mind could not even perceive. You are actively becoming more insightful, more adaptable, and more creatively brilliant, simply by allowing these long, vibrant dreams to unfold in the absolute safety of your paralyzed, resting body. The vast, disconnected puzzle pieces of your life are being beautifully assembled, revealing the grand picture that your waking mind was too stressed and too narrow to comprehend. And as these majestic, elongated dream cycles perform their vital psychological and creative work, the physical environment of your body begins a slow, almost imperceptible transformation. The deep, continuous hours of sleep have profoundly altered the chemical landscape of your blood and the temperature of your tissues. The heavy, comforting molecule of adenosine, the sleep pressure that built up throughout your waking hours and gently pushed you into the dark, has been completely washed away. The microscopic hourglass in your brain has been thoroughly emptied by the geolymphatic system, leaving your neural receptors fresh, clean, and completely unburdened by the weight of yesterday's exhaustion. Deep within the ancient, central clock of your brain, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the master timekeeper that governs your circadian rhythm, senses the subtle, distant rotation of the earth. Even though the sky outside your window may still be completely pitch black and your eyelids remain softly, gently closed, this internal master clock knows with absolute biological certainty that the lowest point of the night has passed. In response to this internal timing, the suprachiasmatic nucleus initiates a magnificent, highly synchronized reversal of the exact physical processes that put you to sleep so many hours ago. First, it sends a quiet, systemic signal to your circulatory system, prompting a microscopic, deeply gradual increase in your core body temperature. The blood vessels in your hands, your feet, and the surface of your skin, which dilated earlier in the night to release heat and cool you down into the deep sleep, now begin to ever so slightly constrict. This gentle, invisible conservation of heat begins to slowly warm your internal organs. The biological furnace is being turned up by a fraction of a degree, warming the engine of your body in slow, patient anticipation of the physical movement that the morning will eventually demand. Simultaneously, the steady, rhythmic production of melatonin, the dark hormone that has blanketed your brain in absolute tranquility all night long, begins to steadily slow. Its powerful, sleep-inducing concentration in your bloodstream has peaked, and it now begins a slow, deliberate decline. The biological lustre of the night is quietly receding, lifting the heavy, chemical veil from your consciousness, allowing the light, vibrant electrical patterns of your dreams to shine even brighter. At the exact same time, the adrenal glands, perched quietly atop your kidneys, which have been entirely dormant, silent, and stress-free for the entire duration of your night, receive a faint, awakening whisper from the brainstem. They begin to synthesize and secrete the very first, microscopic, perfectly calibrated amounts of cortisol. This is not the sharp, frantic cortisol of waking stress or panic. It is a gentle, natural biological spark. It is the chemical equivalent of a magnificent sunrise beginning to break over a dark horizon. This slow, steady rise in cortisol is preparing to eventually provide the necessary chemical momentum of morning alertness, ensuring that when you do finally wake, you will feel vibrant, capable, and alive. These physical changes are incredibly slow. They move with the patient, inexorable, and majestic grace of the turning planet itself. You do not feel them happening. You do not feel the temperature rising or the hormones shifting. You are still completely immersed in the soft, rhythmic breathing of your slumber, floating safely and comfortably within the hyper-associative, emotionally healing world of your final dreams. But the biological tide has officially, undeniably turned. You have successfully navigated the deepest, most restorative valleys of the night. You have been broken down, cleaned, repaired, archived, and entirely rebuilt. You are now resting on the long, gentle, upward slope toward the morning. The dark is slowly, beautifully surrendering its absolute hold. And your completely rested, meticulously repaired body is quietly, flawlessly preparing for the magnificent, inevitable return to the light. As the last, sweeping cycle of your night begins its slow, graceful transition toward the shores of the morning, the vibrant, hallucinatory theater of your final dream state softly begins to dissolve. The vivid colors, the surreal landscapes, and the hyper-emotional narratives that have captivated your sleeping mind for the past hour start to fade, retreating back into the vast, quiet archives of your memory. Your brain has successfully completed its magnificent, associative labor. The puzzle pieces of your life have been meticulously rearranged, your emotional burdens have been beautifully neutralized, and the deep, psychological equilibrium of your mind has been fully restored. The canvas of your consciousness is now entirely clean, swept clear of yesterday's static, and perfectly primed for the new experiences that await. With the final emotional and creative work of REM's sleep drawing to a gentle close, the profound, protective paralysis that has held your physical body in total stillness, the REM aonia finally, completely releases its grip. The invisible, biological lock on your voluntary muscles is quietly disengaged. The chemical signals that travel down your spinal cord to keep you safely tethered to your bed slowly evaporate, returning the full, dynamic potential of movement back to your lives. You are no longer anchored. While you remain resting peacefully, entirely still and deeply relaxed, the biological capacity to stretch, to turn, and to rise is softly handed back to your sleeping mind. As the motor pathways awaken, the grand sensory gatekeeper of your brain, the thalamus, begins its own slow, majestic reopening. For the entire duration of the night, this deeply embedded structure has acted as an impenetrable wall, actively blocking the sights, sounds, and physical sensations of the external world from reaching your awareness. It created the silent, isolated sanctuary in which your healing could take place. But now, sensing the completion of your body's restorative needs, and guided by the rising tide of morning hormones, the thalamus slowly begins to unlock its heavy doors. It does not throw them open all at once. The transition from the isolated depths of sleep to the sensory richness of the waking world is an exquisitely delicate, staggered process. The thalamus begins by allowing only the softest, most familiar, and safest streams of information to gently filter back into your resting cortex. You might not be consciously awake, but your brain is beginning to actively listen to the room once again. It registers the distant, ambient hum of the house, the gentle rustle of the leaves outside your window, or the subtle shifting of the air currents in your bedroom. Simultaneously, the thalamus allows the physical sensation of your environment to softly return to your awareness. Your brain registers the comforting weight of the blankets resting across your shoulders, the incredibly soft texture of the pillow beneath your cheek, and the precise, physical orientation of your body upon the mattress. You are slowly, beautifully reconnecting with the physical space you occupy, your mind gently reaching out to touch the boundaries of the world from which it has been separated for so many hours. This delicate, sensory reconnection is profoundly influenced by the changing physical realities of the approaching dawn. Even though your eyes remain softly, perfectly closed, your biological connection to the light is fiercely, relentlessly active. Woven into the incredibly complex cellular tapestry of your retinas is a small, highly specialized network of cells known as intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. These remarkable cells are not used for seeing shapes, colors, or the intricate details of the world. They possess an entirely different, much older evolutionary purpose. They contain a unique photopigment called melanopsin, which is exquisitely sensitive to the short wavelength, blue light of the morning sun. As the Earth continues its rotation and the sun begins to gently breach the horizon, the very first, imperceptible rays of ambient morning light begin to filter into your room. This light is incredibly subtle, perhaps only a faint, cool glow reflecting off the walls. Yet, even through the barrier of your closed eyelids, this ambient light reaches the melanopsin within your retinas. The moment these cells detect the faintest signature of the dawn, they fire a rapid, direct electrical signal along the optic nerve, bypassing the visual centers entirely, and traveling straight to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the master clock deep within your brain. This signal is the ultimate biological announcement that the night has officially ended. Upon receiving this message of light, the master clock issues a final, uncompromising command to the pineal gland. The production of melatonin, the great dark usher of sleep, is instantly and completely halted. The remaining traces of the sleep hormone in your bloodstream are swiftly metabolized and cleared away by your liver. The heavy, chemical veil that has blanketed your nervous system all night is finally lifted, allowing the natural, vibrant electricity of your waking mind to begin its rapid ascent. To replace the fading darkness of melatonin, the master clock orchestrates the beautiful, chemical crescendo of your morning vitality. The adrenal glands, which have been slowly, quietly increasing their activity over the past few hours, are now instructed to release their peak, morning surge of cortisol. This perfectly timed, natural release of cortisol is the biological engine of your wake of signals. It floods your bloodstream with a gentle, invigorating energy, slightly elevating your heart rate, gently raising your blood pressure, and increasing the flow of oxygenated blood to your brain and your muscles. It is the internal sunrise, a chemical wave of capability and alertness that washes away the very last, lingering shadows of sleep inertia. As this invigorating tide of cortisol rises, the autonomic nervous system, the ancient intelligence that has flawlessly managed your heart and lungs all night, begins its own essential shift. For the past 8 hours, your body has been entirely dominated by the parasympathetic nervous system, the slow, tranquil, rest and digest state that allowed your cardiovascular system to heal. But to survive the vertical demands of the waking day, your body must prepare to fight the relentless pull of gravity. Slowly, seamlessly, the sympathetic nervous system begins to awaken. This is the system of action, of engagement, and of movement. It sends a gentle, firm signal to the smooth, muscle tissue lining the walls of your blood vessels. The arteries, which had beautifully dilated and softened during the night to lower your blood pressure, now begin to subtly, precisely constrict. They are carefully increasing the internal pressure of your cardiovascular system, ensuring that when you do finally choose to sit up and stand, the blood will effortlessly flow upward to your brain, preventing dizziness and providing you with immediate, flawless physical balance. Your heart, recognizing the shift in pressure, gently accelerates its rhythm, transitioning from the slow, deliberate metronome of deep sleep to the lively, responsive cadence of the waking day. While your cardiovascular system prepares for the physical reality of gravity, the incredible, microscopic maintenance crews within your brain begin to gracefully conclude their nightly labor. The geolymphatic system, the massive biological power washer that has been continuously surging through your neural pathways, begins to slow its rhythmic pulsing. The flow of cerebrospinous fluid that washed away the toxic metabolic debris of yesterday gently recedes, draining the last of the cellular exhaust into your circulatory system to be permanently eliminated. As the fluid drains, the glial cells, the structural support cells that physically shrank in size to open up the microscopic highways of your brain, begin to slowly expand once again. They swell back to their normal, daytime volume, gently closing the massive, open spaces between your neurons. The brain is literally tightening its physical structure, transitioning from the open, porous state of deep cleansing back to the dense, tightly packed state required for brilliant, rapid eye for conscious thought. The biological plumbing is beautifully secured, leaving behind a pristine, perfectly balanced chemical environment. Within this pristine environment, the billions of neurons that make up your mind are resting in a state of absolute, unparalleled readiness. The intense, sweeping delta waves that synchronize their firing in the deep night are completely gone. The chaotic, hypervatic electrical storms of the REM dream state have entirely subsided. Your brainwaves are now hovering in a light, tranquil state, a beautiful, high-frequency hum that indicates a mind perfectly rested, perfectly healed, and quietly waiting for the spark of full awareness. The synapses between your neurons, the microscopic bridges across which your thoughts and memories travel, have been flawlessly optimized. The weak, unnecessary connections holding the trivial static of yesterday have been ruthlessly pruned away, freeing up massive amounts of physical space and metabolic energy. The vital, important connections carrying the true essence of your skills, your knowledge, and your emotional wisdom have been structurally reinforced and deeply embedded. Your mind is no longer the saturated, exhausted sponge it was when you went to bed. It is a sharpened, highly efficient, brilliantly organized masterpiece of biological engineering. Every single organ, every single cell, and every single electrical pathway within your form has been profoundly transformed by the quiet, unrelenting power of the night. You have traversed the complete, magnificent architecture of human slumber. You surrendered to the heavy, gravitational pull of adenosine. You sank through the protective, shallow waters of light sleep, guarded by the rapid bursts of sleep's spindles and the towering, silencing waves of the K-complex. You drifted effortlessly in the profound, lightless depths of slow-wave sleep, where the silent miracles of growth hormone, immune fortification, and cellular autophagy rebuilt the very foundation of your flesh. You ascended into the vibrant, paradoxical theater of REM sleep, where your paralyzed body allowed your mind to freely wander the landscapes of memory, untangling the knots of your anxiety, digesting the emotional weight of your experiences, and forging the brilliant, unexpected connections of true human creativity. You rode these massive, 90-minute waves over and over again, trusting entirely in the ancient, flawless rhythm of your own biology. You did not have to earn this healing. You did not have to consciously direct the intricate chemical ballets, the rhythmic pulsing of the fluids, or the microscopic pruning of your synapses. This profound, nightly restoration is your absolute biological birthright. It is a gift given to you by millions of years of evolution, a perfect, self-sustaining sanctuary that exists entirely within you, waiting patiently every single evening to embrace you, to heal you, and to make you whole once again. And now, as the final subtle preparations are beautifully completed within the sanctuary of your resting form, the long, transformative journey of the night reaches its final, breathless precipice. The body is fully repaired. The mind is entirely clear. The dark has surrendered its hold, and the ambient, inviting light of the morning is gently pressing against your closed eyelids. You are resting in a state of absolute, perfect equilibrium, hovering gracefully on the very boundary between two worlds, completely ready to cross over. The invisible bridge back to waking life has been meticulously constructed, and all that remains is for you to simply, effortlessly step across. As you hover gracefully on this breathtaking boundary between the profound, healing sanctuary of the night and the vibrant, demanding reality of the day, the final transition occurs with an exquisite, effortless subtlety. The delicate, involuntary flutter of your eyelids finally breaks the seal of the night, allowing the soft, ambient light of the morning to flood directly into your visual cortex. In a fraction of a second, the vast, complex networks of your conscious mind boot back to life. The logical, rational manager of your prefrontal cortex resumes its post, perfectly rested and incredibly sharp. The surreal, logic-free landscapes of your dreams instantly evaporate, dissolving like morning mist under a rising sun, leaving behind only the distilled wisdom, the neutralized emotions, and the beautifully organized archives of your memory. You are awake, but this is not the heavy, reluctant wake-up signals of a body that has been denied its rest. This is the profound, soaring sensation of absolute biological renewal. As you take your first conscious, voluntary breath of the morning, expanding your chest and drawing the cool air deep into your perfectly rested lungs, you can physically feel the miraculous work that was accomplished in the dark. The immense, crushing fatigue that settled deep into your bones yesterday is completely, unequivocally gone. Your muscles, having been meticulously bathed in human growth hormone and completely stripped of their microscopic tears, feel light, resilient, and infused with a quiet, humming potential. The deep, heavy ache of physical exertion has been flawlessly replaced by a profound, cellular buoyancy. When you slowly sit up and gently plant your feet upon the floor, your cardiovascular system responds with absolute, flawless precision. The sympathetic nervous system, having slowly awakened in the fervent hours, instantly constricts your beautifully relaxed blood vessels by precisely the right fraction, ensuring that your blood flows upward against gravity with effortless grace. There is no dizziness, no hesitation, no faltering. Your heart, having spent the entire night resting in the extended pauses between its beats, now pumps with a strong, vibrant, and incredibly efficient rhythm. The biological engine of your body has been meticulously tuned. The oil has been changed. The structural integrity has been reinforced. And you are perfectly prepared to move through the physical world. Within the locked vault of your skull, the sensation of renewal is even more breathtaking. The immense, foggy static of yesterday's mental exhaustion has been entirely washed away. Your mind feels extraordinarily vast, clear, and brilliantly sharp. The short-term reservoir of your hippocampus has been completely emptied, swept clean of yesterday's chaotic data, leaving you with a massive, unburdened capacity to absorb the details of this new day. The neural pathways of your neocords have been beautifully pruned and expertly strengthened, allowing your thoughts to travel with lightning speed across the streamlined architecture of your intellect. The complex, difficult problems that seemed utterly insurmountable just 12 hours ago now appear incredibly manageable, completely unraveled by the hyper-associative brilliance of your resting brain. And perhaps most importantly, the emotional weather of your mind has been beautifully, flawlessly stabilized. The fiery, reactive alarm of your amygdala has been profoundly cooled by the stress-free therapy of your dreams. You do not carry the sharp, painful sting of yesterday's frustrations, or the suffocating weight of yesterday's anxieties. The emotional slate has been wiped completely clean. You are waking up with a vast, deep reservoir of psychological resilience. You are biologically primed to be more patient, more empathetic, more joyful, and more deeply connected to the people around you. The invisible, heavy armor of your immune system is actively patrolling your bloodstream, fully upgraded and armed with new antibodies, ready to fiercely protect this profound state of well-being. This is the magnificent, unparalleled gift of human sleep. It is a daily, biological resurrection. Every single time you surrender to the dark, you are broken down to your fundamental, microscopic elements meticulously, beautifully rebuilt into a stronger, sharper, and more resilient version of yourself. It is the absolute foundation of your health, the bedrock of your sanity, and the most powerful, transformative force in the natural world. Yet, as miraculous as this individual healing is, the true, breathtaking beauty of sleep is revealed when you realize that you do not undertake this journey alone. The intricate biological symphony that we have just explored, the slow descent, the protective spindles, the towering delta waves, and the vibrant, emotional landscapes of our EM is not unique to you. It is a universal, ancient rhythm that binds every single human being, and indeed almost every living creature on this planet, into one unified, planetary breath. Imagine for a moment the Earth viewed from the silent, vast expanse of space. As the planet continuously, relentlessly turns on its axis, a massive, sweeping shadow is constantly wrapping around the globe, chasing the setting sun. As this shadow of night falls over the continents, crossing oceans, sweeping over towering mountain ranges, and blanketing sprawling electric cities, an extraordinary biological wave follows directly in its wake. As the environment dims and the light fades, the supersummication nuclei within billions of human brains register the change. Billions of pineal glands begin to silently release the dark usher of melatonin. Across the darkened hemisphere of the Earth, billions of sympathetic nervous systems stand down, and billions of parasympathetic networks take the helm. A massive, planetary drop in blood pressure occurs. The collective, frantic bay of waves of human anxiety, stress, and waking effort begin to miraculously smooth out, giving way to the rolling, tranquil alpha waves, and eventually plunging into the deep, synchronous ocean swells of delta sleep. In this very moment, as half of the world is bathed in the brilliant, demanding light of the day, building, fighting, striving, and running, the other half is resting in profound, absolute biological peace. It is a global cycle of expenditure and restoration, a massive, breathing lung of human consciousness. You are part of this grand, sweeping planetary wave. Flawless intelligence that washes the toxic proteins from your individual brain is simultaneously washing the brains of millions of others, performing the exact same miracles of memory consolidation, cellular autophagy, and emotional healing in the dark, silent bedrooms across the globe. We are deeply, biologically tethered to the rotation of the celestial body beneath our feet, our internal clocks perfectly synchronized with the great, cosmic mechanics of the solar system. But the radiant dawn we have just explored, the magnificent transition back into the light, and the profound realization of being perfectly healed, that is a destination that lies far, far ahead of you. It is the brilliant conclusion of the journey. Right now, in this precise, quiet moment, you are not at the end of the narrative. You are resting safely, beautifully, at its very beginning. The story of the night that we have traversed together is the exact, miraculous promise of what awaits you now. The architecture of the dark has been laid out before you. The invisible safety nets have been revealed, and the spectacular, intelligent caretakers of your biology are quietly standing by, waiting for your permission to begin their vital, silent work. As you lie here, perfectly still, bring your awareness gently back from the grand, sweeping concepts of the planetary wave, back from the distant shores of the morning, and draw it softly into the immediate, comforting reality of your physical space. Notice the absolute stillness of the room around you. The world outside your walls is quieted down, its demands completely suspended. There is nothing pulling at your attention, no urgencies requiring your action, and absolutely nowhere else you need to be. Feel the heavy, comforting embrace of the mattress beneath you, rising up to meet your physical form, flawlessly supporting your weight so that your muscles do not have to do any work at all. Notice the soft, familiar texture of the blankets resting across your body, creating a warm, deeply insulated, and perfectly safe microclimate. Pay attention to the temperature of the air as it brushes gently against your cheek, and the incredibly soft, yielding surface of the pillow cradling the immense, magnificent complexity of your mind. Your journey downward has already quietly begun. The heavy, invisible presence of adenosine is currently wrapping around your neural receptors like a soft, weighted blanket, gently dialing down the volume of your waking thoughts. The steady, quiet release of melatonin is flowing through your bloodstream, whispering the ancient, biological command to power down. You can feel the effects of this chemical usher in the subtle, deeply pleasant heaviness resting behind your closed eyes, and in the profound, melting relaxation spreading slowly through your lungs. Your autonomic nervous system is flawlessly taking the reins. You do not need to instruct your heart to slow down. It is already beginning to beat with a calmer, deeper, and more deliberate rhythm, resting in those microscopic, tranquil spaces between the beats. You do not need to regulate your respiration. The primitive, evolutionary intelligence at the base of your brainstem is already transforming your breath into a slow, perfectly metronomic tide. With every single exhalation, you are naturally, effortlessly releasing a fraction of the day's tension, letting it drain away into the silent air, leaving you lighter, softer, and more profoundly at peace. There is absolutely nothing you need to accomplish tonight. Sleep is not a task you can force, nor is it a performance you can perfect. It is the ultimate act of biological surrender. It is the profound grace of letting go. You are simply handing the incredibly heavy, complicated keys of your consciousness over to an ancient, trillion-celled intelligence that has been flawlessly navigating the dark since the very dawn of human existence. Your brain knows exactly how to build the protective walls of the K-complexes. It knows exactly how to synthesize the amino acids to rebuild your muscles. It knows exactly how to clear the short-term cache of your hippocampus and forge a monad, brilliant architecture of your identity. It knows how to cool the fires of your immune system and balance the delicate, powerful scales of your hormones. Every single miraculous process we have discussed is already coded into your DNA, waiting in the wings, ready to execute a symphony of healing that is completely unique to you, yet perfectly aligned with the natural rhythms of the earth. As you continue to drift, simply allow yourself to be a passive, peaceful observer of your own descent. Notice how the frantic, electrical chatter of your mind is beginning to gently blur, the sharp edges of your thoughts dissolving into a soft, abstract watercolor. The rolling, tranquil alpha waves are beautifully lengthening, stretching out into the slow, undulating rhythms of theta. The shores of the waking world are receding into the distance, fading into a quiet, indistinct murmur as you unmoor the vessel of your consciousness and allow it to float out into the calm, open waters. You are completely safe. You are held in a state of absolute, unconditional biological care. The fortress of your body is secure, the locked vault of your mind is pristine, and the deep, light-less wrenches of slow-wave sleep are waiting to embrace you with their immense, restorative silence. Let the tension melt from your jaw. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let the physical boundary of your body blur softly into the mattress until you can no longer tell where you end and the comforting support beneath you begins. There is only the rhythm of the breath, the slow, magnificent slowing of the heart, and the beautiful, inevitable pull of the night. Trust in the perfect design of your rest. Trust in the quiet, unrelenting power of your own biology. Surrender the burdens of yesterday, release the anticipations of tomorrow, and simply allow yourself to fall into the vast, protective, and deeply healing embrace of the dark. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. The journey is yours. The night is yours. Sleep well.